Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, I'm going to be going over what it is like to live with the all-new Nissan Z. And as you guys can see, I picked the best possible day. It is raining. It's like the one day that it rains in Utah. I decided, you know what, we should make a video about daily driving a 400 horsepower rear-wheel drive sports car, but you know what, we'll be fine. This has traction control, we're all good. But anyways, I'm basically just going to go about my day-to-day stuff and show you guys what it's like to live with this car, and if it's, you know, super daily drivable or if it's not, I suppose. And with that being said, before we get in the video, as always, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. Okay, well, first things first, got to start her up. And yes, I do have the manual for the week, which is very fun. But you guys can see there, got the cool startup animation. Getting out of the garage is always a fun process because it's a pretty tight fit, because I've got door on the one side and Raptor on the other side. But good thing, I've done this so many times with my Jeep that it's super easy for me to do this. I wonder if this makes anyone, if this makes you nervous, comment down below. Like, look how close we are to the Raptor. You hear the parking sensor beeping. Heart monitor just went flat. Doo-doo-doo. Oh, that gauge cluster is so cool. But look at that. You can fit it in a tight garage, no problem. And, well, we are officially in the rain with the Z. Okay, so for this quick little clip here, I threw the GoPro on. The reason I did that is because this is a manual, and you know, I'm okay at this filming stuff, but I can't film and drive at the same time with a manual transmission like a lot of other YouTubers do. I know it's possible, but you know, I don't really want to be doing the whole like camera juggling / shifting thing. I'd rather just keep things safe and throw the GoPro on my head. First thing I mention is, you know, obviously I can't go like full throttle because the roads are wet and it's pretty cold outside. It's like 40 something, maybe like 50 degrees outside, which is not terribly cold, but it's decently cold. But you know, this doesn't really, like, I mean, in stuff like this, it doesn't really slip out as long as you're not, you know, too crazy into the throttle. Other daily driver stuff that I mentioned, so like seat comfort with the new Z is actually really good. I mentioned in my comparison with this against the Supra, I prefer these seats over these seats in the Supra. I just think that these seats look cooler and they're just more comfortable overall. And then from a space perspective, I am using the passenger seat because I have no one with me for storage space. But obviously there's quite a bit of space in the trunk area back there that I could use, and you can get access to all the time, which is great. So it's practical from a space perspective, so that makes it a little bit more daily drivable, right? The rev match helps out quite a bit in higher traffic situations, because then all I have to worry about is just not stalling the car, which is really easy because this car is just, I don't know, it's like, it's really nice with like the clutch actuation. Like, I know exactly when the grab point is, and so this would actually be a really good car to learn how to drive manual on. So if you're like, you know, stuck between the automatic and the manual, just buy the manual even if you don't know how to drive manual. And this would actually be, like I said, a pretty easy car to drive manual on. Just, you know, don't be too crazy with the throttle of the car, because it's definitely a lot to handle, especially in wet conditions like this. Their vents are great because there's so many of them, so like you're really comfortable from a climate perspective. It has heated seats, so on a colder day like this, that helps out. Yeah, and again, like, I can be so lazy with the driving with the rev match function, because like I don't have to heel toe downshift. I can just like put my foot on the brake. I can let the car do the downshifting for me, and it makes driving a manual, frankly, like, you know, not as exciting. But again, this is about daily driving. It makes it a lot more daily drivable. I can't put the radio on because obviously copyright infringement, but I can tell you this, the sound system in this is really good. Like, it bumps. It's a solid sound system. It's not a huge car, so frankly you don't need like a crazy sound system. So, you know, for what this has, I think it does great. It has a ton of safety tech too. Like, again, it's got adaptive cruise control, it's got blind spot monitoring, it's got, like, again, a lot of safety tech with it. And so, you know, between like the safety tech and the rev match function and all that, super daily drivable. But we got to talk about the other stuff in terms of daily driving the new Z, like, you know, the attention it gets and all that kind of stuff. And so let's get into that. Hopefully you guys enjoy this little driving section. So quick update here on the highway. I'm actually testing out the adaptive cruise control right now. Works great, just like any other adaptive system. Now the only difference with this system versus other systems, I guess, is since this is a manual transmission car, if you're going up a really steep hill and the car needs to downshift to, you know, get acceleration with the adaptive cruise control, you're gonna have to do the downshifting yourself because obviously it can't shift the transmission for you. And then also ride quality is really smooth on the interstate. It's got great, obviously, I mean, 400 horsepower, it's got great passing power. But yeah, as like a highway cruiser, you know, daily driver, very comfortable car, easy, you know, from a speed perspective, and it looks like it's doing pretty good from a fuel economy perspective because it's not really getting into the boost too much to keep up with the flow of traffic. So like, it's economical too. There's a lot to love here. So this is what happens when you daily drive the Z. Everyone just, yeah, drools over it. It's funny. Part of daily driving the Z. As you can see, another person looking at it, everyone looks at it. It's so funny. So quick update with the driving. I just stopped at 2 more places and you guys can tell this thing gets a ton of attention. I tried to film all the people that walked up to the car. Obviously didn't get all of them, but like, yeah, everywhere you go, this car gets so much attention. But for those of you that actually live in Utah and know what I'm talking about, I just made it over the point of the mountain in 6th gear. Didn't have to downshift at all. Like, this thing's got some power. I was able to keep up with the flow of traffic, no problem. So this thing is an awesome highway cruiser. We're over here at the Nissan in Murray, the Tim Daly Nissan here in Murray, and they actually haven't seen a Z yet, none of the salespeople, so I'm bringing this over to them, and it'll be interesting to see how they all react. So I'm actually in a Rivian right now to review it, and long story short, I basically got swarmed by a bunch of people because, again, everyone was excited to see the Z, and it was awesome to be able to share it with them. But now I've got to review this pretty cool Rivian R1T. This is the Adventure model, so this is the first time I've been in an Adventure because the other 2 I reviewed are Launch Edition, so we'll see how this is. Okay, so daily driver update. First off, I'm getting better at this whole holding the camera while driving thing here, which is great. Well, except camera view is probably still crappy, but at least I'm able to like multitask now, where I'm able to do a little bit of this manual transmission driving, as you guys can see, and also holding the camera. But anyways, so, you know, in terms of updates on the Z after daily driving it for a little bit longer, you know, I think that the attention is going to wear off because there's a couple of the dealers that I spent a little bit of like a longer time at, and eventually like the crowds around the car kind of died. And so I think that once this car's out for a while and there's enough people that have it, I think that then you're going to be able to kind of just like fly under the radar, especially if you get like a, you know, not a crazy color. So like if you do like a, I don't know, like a black or a silver or something, not bright blue like this particular one, you know, flying under the radar, I think that that would help out quite a bit. And I can say that, you know, not getting a ton of attention definitely makes this car more daily drivable, because then you can just go and do things and not have to worry about people flocking all over. But yeah, I really like this. This is probably my favorite manual transmission car to daily drive so far that I have driven. And I've driven quite a few manuals on a daily basis, so yeah, this is looking pretty good so far. Well, I'm at my last stop of the day, and that is the grocery store, and well, it's pouring down here again. So yeah, we got this all-season Z, perfect for driving in the rain. No, seriously though, like I have no issues with grip whatsoever, but I am gonna get soaking wet. I'm not excited for that. I've already been soaking wet like 3 times today and then like dried off afterwards, and so it's kind of getting old. Look at this! The Z fits all the groceries. If you guys are wondering, I got some peaches and some oranges. I eat a lot of fruit. But in all seriousness, I mean, I would have been able to fit quite a bit back there from a storage space perspective. And again, if you don't have a passenger, then you can use this area, and you can use the area behind the seats as well. And so yeah, it's practical, and let's sum things up. So we're gonna cap things off in the garage because, well, it's still raining outside, and I would like this camera to live a little bit longer. So let's talk about the daily drivability of the Nissan Z. And you guys gotta understand, again, this is coming from someone who has owned a Camaro ZL11LE, a Shelby GT350, Mustang. I also owned its counterpart, the Toyota Supra, for quite some time. I also had a Porsche Boxster S with a manual transmission. But the point I'm trying to make is I have daily driven several 2-door sports cars over an extended period of time, and here's what I have to say about the new Nissan Z. It's extremely comfortable. The practicality from a storage space perspective just makes sense. It's really, really good. And You know, here's what I have to say is, out of all the cars that I've personally owned, this is the best from a daily driver perspective. It's the most comfortable. It's exciting to drive on a day-to-day basis because of the manual transmission and because it has like the perfect amount of power where like I can actually use it on road and I can have fun with it and I'm not breaking the law, but it still feels fast. It still feels really quick. It's just a really balanced car. And especially when you compare it to the Supra, because again, I owned that for quite some time. This just feels a little bit more planted. It feels a little bit more comfortable again from a daily driver perspective. It's just as exciting to drive as the Supra. The only thing that I can knock the new Z for, frankly, is its exhaust doesn't sound all that great stock. But that's an easy fix. And I'm sure a ton of aftermarket companies are going to have awesome exhausts. So that's the only thing that I have to say about the Z is just make sure you budget for an exhaust on the car. Other than that, it's a blast to drive on a daily basis. It's really practical, and you obviously could use this as a second car, a weekend car, but you could for sure use this as your only car. Like it just works. Now that's gonna sum things up. If you're stopping for the first time, please subscribe. I will see all of you in that next video.